Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
Hello, Steven. How are you today, sir?
Wonderful.
You ready to drink some beer and talk about beer?
Yeah. It's my Friday night.
I know, I'm jealous. I still have one day of work tomorrow.
You have to actually physically go in, or?
Oh, I went in all week, but I get to telework tomorrow. So
Good. Cool.
I get an extra 45 minutes of sleep, and yeah, it's nice. The commute is walking down my stairs, yeah.
The best commute ever.
Yeah, it's the greatest. Okay, today we have a fun topic. We're going to talk about the road to becoming a Cicerone, which I know is it's on Steven's bucket list, I believe.
It is, although now that I've done some research, I'm like, oh, this is a bigger undertaking than I thought previously. I knew it was big, but it's bigger.
Okay. I'm excited to hear what you discovered.
Yeah. Plus, we've got there's some fun stuff, too, today.
Okay,
good beer news, good postscripts. Strap in.
Action-packed episode.
It's a good one.
All right, well, before we get to any of that fun stuff, we have to do the best part for us of the podcast, which is drinking beer. So I will introduce my beer. I give some nose notes before I pass it to Steven to do the same, and then we give tasting notes after we enjoy.
What are you drinking
today? So I'm
today?
drinking beer you brought me. So this is Ingenious Brewing, and this is Joy. So this is a stout with almonds, coconut, and chocolate. So it's a little bit of a play on like an Almond Joy candy bar. And it's 8.3%.
Nice. I've had this one, actually.
You like this one?
Yes. Yeah, it's really good.
I'm excited. And I actually took it out 15 minutes ago, so it's probably the perfect temperature. I usually forget to take them out when they're ice cold. Okay, so this poured it's like jet black. It, kind of what you'd expect from a stout, but it's actually quite dark. And then it did produce quite a bit of head, really thin bubbles, kind of creating a carpet there at the top of the beer, but I have a feeling it's going to dissipate quite quickly. Ooh, there's a lot of chocolate on the nose. Definitely some coconut, and then kind of your standard stout backbone, like a rye bread. Smells like rye bread, chocolate, coconut. I think I'm going to like this one. But I'll let you introduce your beer before I try this one. What are you drinking today, Steven?
Nice. All right, I have a beer I've been wanting to try for a while. This is from Energy City Brewing, just outside Chicago in Batavia, Illinois. It is from their Bistro line, which is their smoothie sour line. It's called Pink Ambrosia. It's a Berliner-style Weisse beer with pink guava, pink grapefruit, coconut, marshmallows, and natural flavors.
Wow, sounds cool.
Yeah. I think I mentioned last week on the Untapped Top 10 Berliner Weisse beers. Trillium owns the top 4 or 5, but then Energy City Brewing gets the next 5.
Cool. From
their Bistro series. I don't think this one specifically was in that top 10, but I'm excited. It's pouring a nice pink. I know what color pink is this week. With kind of a pink tinged head as well. Whoa, a lot of guava in the nose, like a tropical paradise in my nose. Definitely a touch of that grapefruit as well. And that kind of marshmallow sweetness is perceptible in the nose as well. Ooh, this is going to be fun.
All right, I'm excited. Cheers.
All right, cheers.
Okay, this tastes like a candy bar. In a good way. You get sweet chocolate and coconut in the entrance, and then you really do get that almond flavor. It's really good. I love almonds. And then you get kind of dark malt. And then the finish is like dark chocolate, and there is a touch of alcohol heat at the end there, which isn't a bad thing. It's not overpowering, but you kind of go, okay, yeah, this has some booze in it. And then the mouthfeel it's kind of it's definitely creamy a little bit. It's a little thin in the entrance. It's a little bit it's kind of, I know that sounds wrong, but it's creamier at the end. It's like syrup and cream. It almost seems like it gets thicker as the beer develops in your mouth. But yeah, this is a fun one. Yeah, thumbs up on this one.
Ingenious makes a lot of fun beers. So, all right, this one is amazing. This Bistro Pink Ambrosia sour. The taste is dominated by the grapefruit more than in the nose. The nose was guava dominant, and it's more bitter than I kind of expected.
Really?
Yeah, with the marshmallow, I thought it'd be a little bit sweeter. The finish is certainly sweet. You get a pretty good bitter grapefruit at the beginning. The guava lends sort of more to the sourness of the beer. It has a very thick mouthfeel, like coconut milk thick. And like I said, a nice sweet finish. But I mean, it's about as perfect as you can get with a smoothie sour, honestly. I can see why this series is ranked so high, because sometimes they're, I don't know, I mean, of course, they're smoothie sours, so they're just kind of gimmicky, but this feels like they put a lot of like thought and effort and time to make this beer, make at least this one, if not the whole series, feel like you're drinking something good and not gimmicky.
Yeah, there's like thought. It's not just like they threw Lucky Charms or something.
Right, yeah, it's very well balanced for what would be, you know, usually considered a very gimmicky beer. I think like the flavors are very well balanced. Everything comes out, I think, like how they want it to be, and like I said, the grapefruit kind of dominates the flavor. And it's not super sweet. It's you know, you get a pretty bitter grapefruit flavor, but it's very nicely balanced with the marshmallow sweetness towards the end. So
see, that's super interesting that you're getting like the sourness of the grapefruit. That's cool.
It's very, very good. I drink this for breakfast.
All right, awesome.
Maybe so I will.
That... Well, you can tomorrow. It's your day off. I can't. Or is that gonna be a thumbs? I'm just assuming that's a thumbs up.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna try and get more from this Bistro series for sure.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm trying to figure out if I drink it. I feel like I had one of the Bistro series, but I can't remember. But yeah, if I see them on Tavour, I'll definitely grab one.
Yeah, I know you had a patisserie series from them, which was like a banana something chocolate.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't one of their sours. It was a stout.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have had that, but I don't think I've ever had anything. I don't think I've ever had a sour from them, so I'll see if I can get one. I think sometimes those pop up on Tavour, which I'm now back on the sauce.
Which is so funny because I'm so, I don't know, I do get the notifications and I see stuff, but I'm just like meh like every day. They did not forget me, Steven. They know exactly what I want to see. They send me all the stouts that I'm like, I send them to you and I put question marks and if I should get them or not. And so far they've been quite successful. So we'll see. I'm going to do like a couple. I look at the price and it's super expensive. I'm like, yeah, you should get it. You should get that.
Oh, you're on their side. You're working with them. Yeah, I'm figuring like I'll do a couple boxes and then I'll have stouts. I'll have barrel-aged stouts for another like 6 months of podcast episodes.
Yeah, nothing is quite caught me. I don't know what will catch me, honestly, because there have been a few things where I'm like, that's kind of interesting, but I don't know. Nothing has quite pulled me back yet, so we'll see.
Well, don't resist. Stay strong for me, because my strength has failed. Okay, so let's see.
Okay. Can I go to beer number 2?
Oh, I didn't know you had 2 beers.
I know, I'm surprising you with this. This is a very exciting moment right now.
Okay.
So, one of my favorite beers of all time, I've talked about before, is Ocho Vez from Sierra Nevada. It's a prickly pear goza. Well, that was the original recipe. The original recipe was made with prickly pear. They have a new recipe now with agave and lime, and it's terrible.
They betrayed us.
Yeah. So, as many of you may know, I am obsessed with Martin House Brewing in Fort Worth, Texas. They put out, honestly, it's like every week there's some new release of a new sour from them, and they've all been amazing. This week, they released a beer called Lizard Queen.
I like the name.
It is a prickly pear goza. So,
do you have one?
I have one in front of me, and I'm going to try it. I have not tried it yet.
Okay, I'm excited for you.
I wanted to, on the podcast, see if it brings back any memories or if it's even close. What's interesting is this is 8%.
That's a much different ABV than the original Ocho Vez.
Yeah, Ocho Vez I think is like 4 or 5 maybe at the most. But Martin House does a really good job of hiding their alcohol. So
okay,
it's smelling a lot sweeter on the nose than I remember. And also, full disclosure, it's been a very long time since I've had a Ocho Vez original recipe. So.
And they might not have tried to make it taste the same.
Right. Okay. Definitely bringing back memories on the first sip.
Really?
Yeah, I do think this beer, however, if I had to like go completely off memory, this beer is actually a little bit more sour and slightly more sweet than Otra Vase. So Otra Vase kind of had more, I don't know, it's a little bit more slightly tart wheat. Like I think like a real actual Leipzig Goza would be like just slightly tart and more of the like kind of the salty at the end. This is very sweet.
And very sour?
Yes. But the flavors are there. I'm very excited about the flavor.
I think I would like this better.
Really?
How's the salt?
It's there. It definitely makes you kind of lick your lips with the salt. Yeah, it's good. It is very good.
I want to try this now. I'm excited. Is this going to be... So wait, analyze it for a second.
Okay.
Can this be like a mainstay go-to Goza for you?
I think so. It's very good. The problem is it can't be a mainstay Goza because nothing...
Is it temporary?
Yeah, nothing Martin House makes. Like, it's just, this will be in the stores for a few weeks.
Oh.
And probably never see it again.
Well, that's kind of sad. You gotta drink. Drink as many as you
can. I have to go buy as many as I can find. But it's very good. It's very solid. Again, probably not exactly similar. It would be amazing to do a side by side, but definitely bringing back some memories. Like, oh yeah, okay, now because prickly pear is not really a flavor that you sort of hold in your memory.
Yeah, it's just not a flavor you come across very often at all.
Yeah, so like tasting now, I'm like, oh yes, okay, now I know. Now I remember how Gervais tasted, but this is definitely a little bit more sweet, a little bit more sour.
Okay. It's like a Otra Vase that's been turned up a little bit.
With a nice little ABV boost.
Hey, that doesn't hurt.
That finish is really good, though. The finish is very pear. Nice pear finish.
Okay, very cool.
I have two really good beers sitting in front of me right now.
Yeah, you are really celebrating your Friday.
I mean, is there any other way?
No, I don't think so. Not for us, Steven.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of Gozas, so we always talk about Anderson Valley Gozas, the briny melon, cherry Goza, all that. Do you remember the G&T version? Yeah,
that was one of the variants I didn't like.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't really like gin.
Yeah, so it's the gin and tonic Goza. Oh, I just thought of it today. We were talking about gin at work today, and gin and tonics, and I was like, you know what? I don't think they make that one anymore. Maybe it wasn't popular, but
that wouldn't surprise me. They definitely nailed like what they were going for. It tasted like the gin and tonic, but I don't like gin and tonics.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I remember like not even thinking about like, oh, what does G&T mean, and drinking it, and sort of like when I realized what I was like, oh, gin and tonic goes in, and I was like, oh yeah, they did nail that. So I remember how well they executed it. I'm a huge gin fan. So in terms of alcohol, beer is first and then gin is second for me. So I liked that one, but I don't think it was a fan favorite.
Well, that makes sense. If you really like gin, I think they nailed it. But again, I just don't really like gin.
But you liked that, remember the sour from Single Hill Brewing in Seattle?
Oh, you're right. I did like that one.
I liked that one. That was a little kind of a play on with like gin herbals in it. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know what I don't know why.
Yeah.
How many beers had I had before I tried that one?
Also, that's another thing. Do you know what came up on my memories today? Is that Seattle trip. That was a year ago.
Oh, are you serious? I can't believe it.
A full year ago. Is that mind-blowing?
I can't believe it's been a year. Can we go on another trip like that?
Yeah. I guess seems like it's time.
It's time. It's been a whole year. That was so fun.
Yeah, that was amazing. So anyway. All right, sorry I drank another beer.
No, that was exciting. Okay, so we can move on to our next segment, which is postscripts and beer news. Postscripts is when we jump back to previous episodes to fix corrections, or sometimes we make a note to revisit a topic in a future episode. And we have one of those. And then beer news is, of course, self-explanatory. It's beer news. And we have some of that as well. So do you want to take us through our postscript, Stephen?
Yes. So last week we talked a little bit about like national days. Like there would be like National IPA Day and National Sloth Day and National Avocado Day and National...
Yeah. Basically, you can think of it. There's a day of it.
Yeah. So we kind of like we're thinking like, oh, did these get, are these like acts of Congress declaring these days? Like who's declaring these days and all this stuff. My wife sent me an article this week saying like, hey, maybe this will help. Basically, this article, I think it was written like maybe 2013, so almost 10 years ago. But basically it was an article all about these national days and how they get their start and how they come to be. And they actually mentioned this website it's like National Day Calendar, and it's like these, I don't know, they don't even have that many employees, like 10 to 15 employees, and they take submissions for these national days.
Okay.
So you can you have to do a full write-up on, why you think your thing should be recognized and all this stuff. And they said something like they get like 20,000 applications a year.
Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
Yeah. And I assume at this point
That's
they're doubling.
54 topics per day if you just divide it out through a year. Per year.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like every day has to have multiple things, right? Because there's like 1,700 days that they recognize. So there's multiple per day. Yeah. So that was just like, I don't know. There's no like actual recognition or, they're just like, they just started their website and they did this. So it's kind of silly. There's another one, I guess it's kind of a competing website that they sue for copyright. I don't know, it's really stupid. But there was also the interesting ones are the ones that are voted for by Congress, and a lot of it is motivated by commercially motivated, what they're trying to make people buy or celebrate and that kind of stuff. So one of them was National Ice Cream Day, which was started during the Reagan administration, and at that time the dairy industry had, for whatever reason, they had excess dairy products and cheese and stuff, and so they were trying to move all this product, and so they declared it National Ice Cream Day to try and get people to eat more ice cream, and it stuck. It's become a part of American culture, National Ice Cream Day, and it's even bigger now. All these days are bigger now because you have social media, so you just hashtag National whatever day, and the article pointed out too that there were multiple huge important world events going on, and what was trending on Twitter that day was National Avocado Day.
Wow. Avocados trumping world events.
Yep. I think that one wasn't even government recognized. That one was just from the national calendar today, but if it starts trending on Twitter, it just gets big.
Yeah, there is that viral effect. If something starts going, it attracts more attention to itself. It's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I always think too, if you had enough followers and you just posted hey everybody, happy National Bear Day, everyone would just be oh yeah, it's National Bear Day, and they would just start tweeting that.
Could use your influencer power to make a fake day and
to
then
make a day. Yeah.
And
everyone would just believe it because nobody is fact checking these things.
No, they're just retweeting it or whatever. That's funny. Okay, so what you're saying is none of these are really that official, and many of them are based on marketing.
Yeah, it's all stupid.
Okay, well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Everything is stupid.
Except beer.
Everything is commercially motivated.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I'm not surprised at all, but...
Yeah.
Because it is I know now I love donuts, so I don't remember what it is, but National Donut Day, it's oh, exciting. But then what do? I go buy donuts, so yeah, it's very effective, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure donut shops love that day, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe they hate it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they do.
Oh, that actually reminds me of a great story from today. I just read about it today. I don't know what day it was. Sometime in the last couple of days in New York City. Did you hear about this with Grubhub?
That's so funny. I read this today too. But tell us.
So the Grubhub just decided, there was some survey in New York. It said 60 some odd % of New Yorkers skip lunch or something every day or whatever. And Grubhub was we want to feed all the New Yorkers lunch. So they offered a deal where you get $15 off any meal in New York, any restaurant, any Grubhub restaurant in New York. Well, they did this without telling any of the restaurants that they were going to do this. And they just sprung it on, and it was from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. or something. And so these people, these restaurants, they were coming into their restaurant, opening the restaurant, and seeing that they had 40, 50 Grubhub orders already.
Oh, jeez.
And they're what? What is going on? And it was just terrible for them because they couldn't fulfill all these orders.
Right.
They were running out of stuff. Like, they weren't prepared for that. They weren't staffed for that. And it was just like, it reflected more poorly on them than Grubhub. Grubhub didn't receive any of that backlash. It was these restaurants that were like not able to get orders out, or they were getting orders out wrong, or they weren't able to fulfill orders because they were running out of things. And it was terrible.
No, I saw that too, and I was getting so heated about it. Like, I guess I'm halfway into the stout, and we haven't had a rant on this podcast in a long time, so I'm going for it. These companies don't add value to our economy in any way. Like, they're parasitic companies. Wow, you wrote an algorithm that can like place an order and then pay someone minimum wage to go get it. Congratulations. Like, I don't understand why that's like that's your company. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing anything. Yeah, you're just shifting the burden to a bunch of other people and then profiting. And you're basically like a fancy reservation system that then like utilizes like a Maps API. Like, cool. Great, thanks. And then you're gonna like
with no loyalty to any of these restaurants.
Exactly, and they don't care about the restaurants. They just care about like gathering fees for delivery. So there's your hot take. Haven't had one on the podcast for a long time.
Yeah, so hopefully I don't know. Hopefully these restaurants stop working with Grubhub.
Well, they said you can't even avoid it because they don't ask you. They just find your menu and post it.
Really?
Yeah, and then like people will call. And then they said there's a huge mismatch between like some restaurants update their menu, but then Grubhub doesn't make any effort to like stay current, especially if they don't have a relationship with the restaurant. So then the Grubhub menu doesn't match. So then when people place the order, they can't fill it, and that negatively reflects on the restaurant because the consumer thinks, oh, this restaurant can't fill my order. But in reality, they're just like posting. Grubhub just has an old version of their menu online, and they literally don't care. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, that's terrible. All right, so don't buy on Grubhub.
Yeah, I honestly, I
guess Grubhub's never going to sponsor our podcast.
No, they're not.
Well, but even if they offered, we would say no.
We would say no. We're never going to get offered, but we'd say no.
We have we have morals here at Attenuation Beer Podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. And it is frustrating because like a lot of times you get routed. Like, I have a favorite restaurant in the local town, and then it is easier to order online, but they don't have like a mechanism. Like, they don't have a mechanism through their website to order. So I understand like that is kind of cool that like you can go online and order, but I just don't think it really benefits the restaurant in any way other than like it does drive traffic to them. But I could just call them if I wasn't lazy and put it on.
Yeah, it's terrible. So anyway, that's a funny little side tangent that came up today. So I have another beer news. This is, I'm sorry, a sad beer news.
We have too many sad beer news.
I know, but this is a brewery closing, but this is important.
Okay.
Liberation Brewing Company.
No!
It's closing.
Are you serious?
It's closed. Yeah, it's gone.
The one from the documentary?
From the documentary, yeah.
This is too sad.
Yeah.
What happened?
One started by the guy from Real Big Fish.
Yes.
They had a great opening, and they were doing really well. And then COVID-19 hit.
Yeah.
Because it took them a while to like really have a profitable month, but they did eventually, and then they were doing pretty good. And then COVID-19 was hard. One of the things they had done in order to like make some money was they had brought in like a restaurant. It was not just food trucks parked outside, but it was like they brought in stuff. They were inside.
Okay, so they had like a full-on restaurant that did they like co-brand with or something?
They co-branded with them. So it was sort of a joint venture inside the space. That was helping pay the bills, and it also helped them stay open a little bit more during COVID because they had the food, which was
right. Some of the regulations are like
like instead of just serving alcohol and being closed, it's because they had food, they were able to stay open. So that helped, but that became harder and harder. And then for whatever reason, that restaurant left or closed. And so that stopped. So they were paying for the whole rent themselves. They just couldn't sustain it. So
that's a bummer. That's really sad. I feel so emotionally connected because we saw the documentary.
Yeah. So they closed.
Okay.
Guess who's going into the space?
Oh, don't tell me.
Beechwood.
No. This is really like Star Wars, but Darth Vader wins at the end. You guys got to watch the documentary for like the full context.
Yeah. So anyway, Beechwood was a competing brewery in Long Beach, and
That they had some beef with.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Beechwood, actually, they're not doing the brewery though. They're doing a craft distillery in the space.
Oh, is that going to be a thing now?
I guess, yeah.
What
I guess a
kinda-
lot of people have been asking for that.
What are they making as far as like
I don't know.
liquors?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. Wow, the double insult. We're not even going to use your brewery, your dead brewery, to beer.
Yeah, we don't need it for beer. We're gonna
We make
start
plenty
something
of good
new.
beer at our brewery. Yeah. Okay, now I'm really bummed out. This is going to be I'm sad for the whole rest of the episode.
All right, let me give you another one. This is sort of neutral news, but it's very interesting.
Okay.
So we talked about World Beer Cup last week on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize Allagash White. Have you had that?
Yes.
Okay, so Allagash White is widely regarded internationally as one of the best versions of a Belgian wit style.
Okay.
It is widely regarded, held up as the standard for Belgian wit. And they entered the competition, the World Beer Competition, with their Allagash White in the Belgian wit category. There were, I think, like 103 beers in this category. Allagash won a medal, the bronze. There were no other medals given.
What do you mean? There's no silver and no gold?
No. So it is not a requirement. In the World Beer Cup, it is not a requirement for all 3 medals to be given.
Okay, who are they friends with? Wow.
But it was regarded as the best wit beer tasted out of all the 103 wit beers that were.
Except for the two that beat it that they didn't disclose.
Yeah. No, there weren't it wasn't that there were 2 beers into the competition that were better. They just didn't give a silver and a gold to anybody.
Oh. Wait, why?
They decided that it was a bronze medal wit beer, but the silver and gold didn't enter.
That's so weird.
Like there are 2 phantom beers out there.
Yeah, see, my cynical brain went to there's 2 beers that were better, but they didn't want to ruin the reputation of Allagash, so they just didn't disclose that they awarded them. But you're saying that's kind of more of an insult. They said oh yeah, you're the best, but you're
out of these 103 beers that entered the competition, you were the best. And logic would say that would be the gold beer. That would be the gold medal in that category.
Yeah, right? I don't understand how that's not the gold. If you at the Olympics, if you do the best figure skater score, I'm betraying my lack of knowledge. You get the gold. They don't say, "Oh, wait, no." Relative to other years, you didn't do good enough to get a gold.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you had 10 skaters and say they all did crappy performances, you still rated somebody better than everybody else. Someone did less crappy than everyone else. You would put them as they get gold. You don't just there's this nobody gets gold this year.
That's so weird. And that's a super famous beer. So to not give them gold is such a kind of a slap in the face.
Yeah. So Allagash handled it very well.
Didn't go on a big rant like me.
No, they had only good things to say, and honestly, that beer has won so many awards that they don't even care.
Okay, they're whatever. We don't care about you.
In solidarity, I was going to drink them on the podcast today, and apparently they don't distribute to Texas anymore. I think they did at some point, but I was at my bottle shop getting this Lizard Queen Goza, and then I asked the guy "Hey, do you have Allagash White?" And he was like, "Nope, they don't distribute to Texas anymore."
So strange.
And I looked it up, and it's true.
Okay, so for context, Allagash White on Beer Advocate is the number 3 top-rated wit beer.
Okay.
With 5,818 ratings, and it sits at a 93. There's only 2 above it. There's Beer Blanche from Side Project Brewing. That sits at 95, but they only have 90 ratings. And then the number 1 is Apricot Funky Wit from Perennial Artisan Ales. That sits at 97, but that's only based on 42 ratings. So they have 5,800 ratings, and they sit at 93.
Yeah. So you still almost consider that number 1.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
just don't have enough ratings.
It's pretty impressive to have that many ratings and have that high of a score. So, very interesting. That's such a strange story.
But they said, that the scoring at the World Beer Cup is a little bit funky, and it's happened maybe 15 times or something that they've not awarded a certain medal.
So they just reserve the right not to give silver or gold if they don't feel it was earned. Yeah. Yeah. Dang, they're strict.
Yeah, or they could give no medals in the category.
They're like, no one's first, second, or third. You all suck.
Yeah. So it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, if there's no medals awarded in a category, there's no beers even mentioned then?
Yeah.
They just say, hey, 1,000 or like 100 beers entered this category. None of them.
There were no medals given.
No noteworthy entries.
Yeah.
Man, they're brutal.
It's pretty messed up, huh?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that was very interesting.
All right. So, that was a lot to get through. I'm sorry.
All right. A lot of tangents. If you're still listening, we appreciate you.
Yeah. It's all actually kind of related to our topic today anyway. So.
Being a Cicerone?
About beer tasting and beer judging. And...
Oh, okay. Are we ready for the main topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, say we want to become Cicerones. What's the plural of Cicerone? Is it Cicerones?
Cicerones. I think it's just Cicerones, yeah.
All right. I think my version is cooler, but that's fine. What do we got to do, Steven?
So, first of all, for a long time, people just said sommelier of beer. Okay, right? So if you're a wine expert, you're a sommelier. Until they finally decided to make their own term for that. The Cicerone certification program was founded by Ray Daniels, who was a expert brewer. He was a beer writer, a beer judge for a long time. So he started the Cicerone certification program. They have 4 levels, and you have to finish each level before you can move on to the next level.
Okay.
Level 1, there's no prerequisites except there's like a 5-question quiz you have to answer first. You have to get 100% on it. It's like
a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's like a 5-question quiz about the Cicerone certification program, and you can just take it a bunch of times to try and get it. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's just this little 5-question quiz. Make sure you know what you're doing, I guess.
It's like just a little bit of an entry, like yeah.
Yeah.
Could we pass it? Do you think?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I think if you read like the front page of their website, you could probably pass their 5-question quiz. And then for $69, you get 2 attempts to take a 60-question multiple choice test. You have to get 75% or higher, so 45 out of 60 questions you have to get right.
Okay.
And if you do that and you don't get any notes, it's a closed book quiz. If you pass that, then you are a beer server, certified beer server. So there's mostly questions just about like glassware and pouring beer, and a lot of like if you were to get a job serving beer at a brewery, they would require that you pass this test. So it's really just an entry level certification for people who are serving beer, basically. So that is level 1.
Okay.
That's super obtainable.
Yeah.
Really just pay the money, study just a little bit, and you'll be fine. Then level 2, this is the first real Cicerone certification. So if you pass level 2, you are a certified Cicerone. You can put that logo on your business card. You can advertise that you are a certified Cicerone.
So what you're saying is we both need to pass level 2, so we can put it on the podcast description.
Yeah,
2
exactly.
Cicerones bringing you beer news.
Exactly. So level 2 is where the commitment for both time and money come in. So obviously the prerequisite to level 2 is having a level 1 certification. Then there's a written exam, which costs $225, and a tasting practical exam that costs $175. So $400 total.
Okay.
You have to get 80% or better on the written exam and 70% or better on the tasting practical.
How many beers how many beers are you tasting on the practical? Do you know?
6.
Okay.
So here's this is what they're testing you on. So there's 71 styles recognized by the Beer Judge Certification Program, the BJCP. You have to know all 71 styles, their color range, their ABV range, their IBU range, their original gravity, final gravity ratios, and their flavor profiles and yeast usage and yeast flavors, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So they're going to test you on all those styles. They're going to test you on draft and keg knowledge, so beer line cleaning, carbonation, using how to correctly carbonate beer with CO2, all that. So all the beer serving side. Then you have beer brewing. So beer brewing processes, beer brewing equipment, how to brew beer, that kind of stuff.
This is just level 2 out of 4?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Then there's food and beer pairing.
Okay.
What beers pair with what foods.
Okay.
And then in the tasting test, you would do the two main things are you're going to distinguish styles. So sometimes they'll give you 2 beers and they'll say which one is the milk stout, which one is the Irish stout. So 2 like similar styles.
Like close.
Which one is a Pilsner and which one's a Kolsch, and you have to tell them. So they'll do those. Then they'll also give you 6 beers. You have to taste them. I think on these they tell you the style. You have to drink it. You have to say whether it is okay to be served or whether there's an off flavor.
Oof.
And if there is an off flavor, why is there an off flavor? What happened to it?
Okay. How many of these do we have to get right?
70% on that.
Yikes.
On the tasting. So
that's scary.
Yeah. So probably like 4 or 5 or 6.
4. You gotta get 4 out of 6. Yeah.
4 out of 6, and then you have to nail your styles too, distinguishing styles. So that is level 2. Most people take 1 to 2 years to prepare for that.
I believe it. If you have to,
it's a lot of knowledge.
If you have to know, is it 71 styles? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. If you have to know like the color, the gravity, the tasting on 71 different styles. This is like the bar of beer.
Yeah. It has a 40% pass rate.
Yikes.
Which is lower than the bar.
Yikes.
And that may be because like a certain percentage of people go into it.
Yeah, not knowing like
unprepared.
What they're getting into. Yeah.
I actually read a great article following this beer writer that was like trying to go through it. He took 11 months to get ready and he passed, but he said at one point somebody got up out of the test and was like, I can't do this.
I just walked out. They're like, I'm not going to pass.
Yeah. But yeah, so 40% pass rate. There is a Road to Cicerone boot camp you can take. It's a week-long course that does like your tasting beers every day and doing all this stuff. It's $2,000.
Oof. But do they guarantee you? Is there like a guarantee that you'll pass or?
No.
Yikes.
In fact, they don't even. You would think that they would like do that, and then like you would take the test like soon, right?
Right. So it's like fresh in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they don't let you take it right away because I don't know. They don't want to like correlate it to guaranteeing that you're going to pass the test just because you did the course or whatever. So.
Huh, that's weird. There's like because that's a whole industry for other things. I'm not familiar with the bar, but if you want to become a CPA, there's a couple review courses that are about the same price. They're probably way more now, but where they basically just prepare you as much as possible, and then you just take the test like right after you do the course. There's 4 sections, and then I think they actually do like guarantee like if you don't pass, you can retake the course at like a reduced cost.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
interesting. That's interesting that they say, like, no, you got to wait. They want, like, a cool-off period between the boot camp and the test.
So you can't be like, I just came out the boot camp and it still didn't pass. Like, what the heck? So that is level 2. So that really is the bulk of it. I mean, you become the certified Cicerone at that point. You can really just call it quits. I mean, at that point, like, no one, like, people aren't really.
Yeah, what's the benefit of going to, like, the next level? Yeah,
so the next level really is going to be people like who are really in the beer industry. Probably if you want to become like a more like you want to be a judge at beer festivals and stuff and you want to do that more, you're probably going to do advanced to more levels. So level 3, that's called advanced Cicerone, and that's another written test and a practical test. Same thing, right? It's just going to challenge you more. They're going to do more challenging styles and stuff. 75%, you have to pass the practical at 75%, and then overall between the written and the practical, you have to get an 80%. So that's advanced Cicerone, and that's $800 to do that total.
Ooh, that's pricey.
Like $375 and $425 between the 2 tests.
Oh, okay, yeah, adding them up.
Yeah, and then to become a level 4, which is a master Cicerone, that's $1,000. It's one big test comprising of written, and this is not like multiple choice questions. This is like essay style questions.
Okay.
On beer processes and beer pairings and stuff. There's an oral part of the exam, and then the tasting practical, where again you're doing off flavors, beer style recognition, beer style distinguishing. And this test is 2 days long, and it's once a year in Chicago.
Wait, really? They only do it once a year?
Yeah, the Master Cicerone test. 2 days, happens once a year in Chicago.
That's epic. And then you're a level 4.
Then you're a level 4 at Master.
Do they have
Cicerone.
any numbers on like how many people do that, or?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't look that up. See how many Master Cicerones there are.
Dude, I want to do it just so I can meet the people that go. Those are like the truest beer nerds on the planet. The people you run into at the level 4 test.
Yeah, it kind of like makes you want to just like hang out outside.
I'll be like, hey, are you going in to take the level 4? What's your favorite beer?
There are currently in the world, there are less than 4,200 Cicerones.
Wait, really? This is an elite fraternity.
Yeah, 121 advanced Cicerones and only 18 Master Cicerones.
Oh, okay. So you might not. If there's only 18 level 4s, there might be years where no one even tries.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe everyone fails.
Yep.
There's only 18 level 4s. We should become level 4s, dude. Then we can really have clout on the podcast. But like we're number 19 and number 20. Do you get like a number on your certificate?
I don't.
I'm the 19th Cicerone in the level 4 Cicerone in the world.
Yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me get the official numbers from the actual Cicerone.
Okay.
Because those may have been old numbers. I'll postscript this for sure.
Okay, yeah.
I'll get exact numbers.
Okay, no, that's exciting.
So another thing I want to talk about, I mentioned this beer judge certification program, guideline styles, the BJCP.
Okay.
So this is also another certification program that you can go through. This is more geared towards like becoming a beer judge. They have a 180 question exam.
Oh. Okay.
And then, so this is the 6 beer judging practical. So that may be different from the Cicerone. This is the one I was thinking of that had 6 beers. I don't know how many beers are in the other one, but between the written exam and the practical exam, you get an overall rating.
Okay.
And that rating gives you a title. So you could be a recognized beer judge, a certified beer judge, a national beer judge, a master beer judge, or a grand master beer judge. In order so you can retake the exam and move up the ladder as you get better. And then you also can move up with experience points. So you get
Is this an RPG?
Yeah.
You like level up? That's cool.
So you get experience points. There's 2 different kinds of experience points: non-judging experience points and judging experience points.
Okay.
So non-judging experience points are if you organize some sort of beer competition, you can get beer experience points.
Okay.
So if you're organizer, and then if you are staff, like if you work the beer competition.
Okay. You get points there.
Like you're not a judge, but you're staffing the beer competition. That's more points, and you get more points based on how many beer entries there are into the competition.
Okay.
And then of course, if you're an actual beer judge in the beer competition, then you would get judging experience points. And again, those are based on how many entries into the beer competition there are. So you can gather non-judging and judging experience points, add those to your test scores, get an overall score, and become, a master, a grandmaster eventually.
Cool.
Yeah. So those are the 2 main sort of beer knowledge certification programs. Canada has one. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, the Cicerone program has definitely become the most highly regarded and sought after.
Okay, so now I have to ask you, because before you wanted to become a level 2. Is that still a goal for you?
I think so. I think I could do it. I don't know how soon I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting, like reading the article from the guy who was doing it. Basically going from, he was a food and beer writer, So he had like a general beer knowledge, but he definitely had like a base knowledge, probably similar to mine, honestly. Going from that to Cicerone in 11 months was a lot. He tasted 220 different beers in that time.
Wow. In 11 months?
Yeah. It was really funny. he was actually, the hardest thing for him was distinguishing a Pilsner with a Kolsch.
Okay.
He just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
So,
what if you get like totally stumped on one of
yeah,
those?
so he was constantly testing himself on that, like over and over and over again, and it wasn't even on the test.
Oh my goodness, all that practice.
He's like, yeah, the guy next to me didn't know why I was laughing, but that's why I was laughing, because
Lucked out.
the one he knew he was gonna have a hard time with wasn't even on the test, and the one he'd been practicing the most for. But it was really interesting because he talked about how like he started noticing new aromas and flavors in everything, like his coffee.
Oh, not just beer, because he's like training himself. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's kits you can buy, off flavor kits.
Oh, to test for that part of it, or to practice for that part.
Yeah, so it gives a little bit of these chemicals, and then you put them in beer. You have like somebody blind taste, blindly put them in beers for you, and then you have to find the off flavors. So he said that was pretty useful. Like he did that. He actually ran through that whole thing with all the off flavors like the night before the test.
Okay.
And he said he was able to like pick out off flavors really quickly. So
that's awesome. But he did in 11 months. Did he say like about how much he was? Well, if he drank that many beers, that's 20. I calculated that's drinking 20 different beers a month. So it's doable, but that's a lot. I'm sure he dedicated a lot of time to that. And you got to memorize the 71 styles and.
Yeah, he had flashcards on his phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say he probably had flashcards for that.
Yep, constant flashcard setting. So it's like going back to school.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. I think it'd be rewarding. I think it'd be really cool. But
I think it would be too.
Maybe you should make it a goal, but like not 11 months seems aggressive. You said the average period is 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more reasonable, I think.
It can be done, but just like I don't know, the thought of like doing school again.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's why you should go. Yeah, it's hard to go back. Yeah, if you want to get a lot of school done, just get it all done at once. Because once you stop,
I'm always amazed at people who do like masters and PhD programs and stuff. My God.
I think if you don't stop, it's doable. You just got to think, okay, I'm keeping my head down. I'm gonna grind it out, right?
Yeah.
I was always impressed by the people that I remember because I did accounting. Someone came back. They had got a degree in something, and then they had worked in private industry for like 10 years. And then they were back because they realized my degree is not, the earning potential on it is not very high. So I'm going to get like an in-demand degree. And
right.
I just thought it was interesting, like to start all over, basically. Pretty intense.
Yeah. I had a couple fellow students in nursing school who were coming to nursing as a second occupation. Like they had there's one guy who was in IT.
Oh, that's a weird shift.
Yeah.
IT has a good earning potential, but
yeah. There was a couple of people from like business and different things that like just wanted a new career change and came to nursing, and it's pretty interesting to see people like starting over in a whole new career. Props to them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's hard. So, yeah, I don't want to go back. I could probably do the Cicerone thing, though. Because, I don't know, drinking 200 beers doesn't sound like school to me. The flashcard sounds a little daunting.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, doing the off-flavor test and doing all that stuff.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's super interesting to me. I think that would be awesome. But definitely, like, learning the styles and...
That's the part.
You kind of have to like seek out those styles and try them too. Like,
yeah, that's the tricky part. Is a lot
you're not
of
drinking 220 beers that you like. You're drinking.
Yeah, and a lot of those are probably tricky to find.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, maybe we'll revisit this episode or this topic like in a future episode.
Yeah. But
if you embark on the journey, or maybe if I do.
Yeah, but that's what it takes. It's a lot of testing.
Yeah, that's daunting. I would like
even what they were saying too, like you get a lot of people. So a lot of people do the Cicerone test like from different perspectives, different areas of beer. So you might have brewers from a brewery that all want to get Cicerone certified. Well, they know all about the brew process, right? But maybe they don't know a lot about like kegging and draft lines and stuff like that, or they don't know. But a lot of like the beer distribution people, beer equipment people, they're getting Cicerone certified, and they know a lot about that, but they don't know that much about brew process. So people kind of come at it from different perspectives, different knowledge bases, and so it's just interesting to see like what parts of the test that you have to excel at, and or you might excel at, and what parts you're gonna have to study a whole lot more for. Where I feel like I have to study for all of it.
Right,
like a lot for all of it.
None of it is like a home run part for you. Yeah.
Right. But they did say too that you should brew your own beer at least once.
Well, yeah, and you've done that.
So that's good.
Yeah, it's crazy that they test you like on all the aspects. Like not only do you have to be able to taste it, you have to know how to brew it and serve it. They're not messing around.
Mm-mm.
It's pretty cool though.
So the road to Cicerone,
All
long
right,
and windy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right, cool. Well, that was episode 61. If you want to reach out to us, we're available on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. You can also reach us by email at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. And yeah, I think that's a wrap for this episode. This has been episode 61 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
And we are saying cheers, and we'll see you next week for episode 62.
All right, cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!